Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square with T-Square Talks. Hope everybody's having a great day. Got a cool video planned out for you guys, and kind of a little bit of a flashback, too. I actually went back a few years ago to check, through the videos. I've been reading the comments, and what's really funny, I found two comments that I'm going to read, and it's going to kind of help us talk a little bit today about how some people are at that point where they believe that gold is kind of has gone up too fast and we could be seeing some sort of a big pullback. And here's the funny thing. One of you that wrote one of these two comments is watching this video, I believe, right now. So it's going to be fun. And this person was waiting for a pullback to $1,700 gold. And I kind of got a kick when I was reading the comment. And it's not meant to be negative because this is my boy, a subscriber to the channel. He's been a subscriber for a long time. I still see his comments almost all the time. You guys might even see him put a comment in this video. And if you do, tell him I don't think 17's coming. It is all in good fun. And the other comment kind of talks a little bit about, what's going on with gold and silver. So with that being said, it's going to be a good video. If you enjoy this video, it's going to be a fun video. Please leave a comment, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Help me out. We're trying to grow the channel. It'd be cool to break that 15,000 subscribers. We've been kind of stuck right here at 14.5 or 14.4 for a while now. So I'm hoping we're going to kind of punch through this and get up to that 15K. So what is going on with gold and silver? So silver today, not really doing a whole lot of anything really. When you look at it today, it was kind of just muttering right there. Did it creep up a little bit? It's starting to look over 5 days like we might start seeing a step down. Personally, I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. I know some people out there are starting to think maybe we've seen a nice run up and this is it. But here's the thing. At this point now, this is when we should see a climb. And here's the thing. Eventually, the Fed is going to have another meeting. And a lot of people are going to miss this opportunity. We've seen this time and time again when silver or gold doesn't do much that people, or it does too much, it almost feels like it never ends. If it doesn't do enough, people get discouraged and don't want it. And if it does too much, they start thinking, we're due for a big pullback. Something's wrong. Personally, I think this is momentum. Having 1 day of consolidation or a couple days of consolidation, I don't think it's anything. I do find it extremely interesting that gold has been on a tear and silver really hasn't jumped in yet. I still believe that we're going to see it eventually in silver, but I understand there's a lot of people out there that they want to put their money on gold now because essentially gold is seeing the move. I mean, we're having the big jump. But remember, last year when we had the big jump in gold, it actually took like 3 weeks before we saw the big jump in silver. And so I'm wondering, to me, we've already been doing this increase in gold price for 3 weeks. But we're going to see how it plays out. I really believe silver could go up any day now. A lot of people out there that will leave comments think that it could happen this month. I believe it will happen this month as well. And the prices are, right now consolidating. But here's the thing. A lot of people are stripping out the source, as in the physical. You're seeing huge amounts of volume get traded on a daily basis. I mean, if you look back... Let's see. Do they show volume? They don't show volume if you go too far back, unfortunately, so I can't really show it to you. I find the pattern interesting when I look at it, how it just seems like the same times almost every day you're seeing a beat down or you're seeing a jump, a rise in price. I mean, here's the thing. Ultimately, gold and silver is looking good, but right now it just feels like it's bigger numbers because it is bigger numbers, but not based on percentages. Taking a look at gold today real quick before we get into the fun part of the video. Gold over 1 day, we've seen it kind of have a jump and then we've seen it slowly start coming down. Now, I think this is a good sign in a way. And the reason I think this is a good sign is it wasn't a beat down. This is multiple people that have been selling. Now, here's the thing. People selling, even no matter who's buying, it really doesn't matter to me if big governments are buying, if big banks are buying physical, if individuals are buying physical. All this stuff leads to a demand, a push up in demand. And they don't want, the powers that be, the people that are actually buying it, they don't want people to understand what's going on with gold. They don't even want them talking about it. If they could secretly just buy all gold and all silver, they would. But if they let a cat out of the bag, you might say, and everybody catches on to it, then they're competing against all those individual people. And let's be honest, there's more of us than there are of them. I know a lot of people always want to say the big money, that they've got more money than us. I don't know how many of you guys watched the movie Ants or even Dumb Money. I heard some people say they didn't like the movie. I really liked the movie, but I was involved in the GameStop stuff. So I wasn't in the movie though, but so the thing I want you to kind of take though is from those two movies, there's more of us than there are of them. When the masses start buying, we drive the price up. We're the ones that will push it. We're the ones that will break the trading system. And let's be honest, gold and silver is severely undervalued. Even gold, compared to the amount of money that is in circulation today, $3,100 gold is cheap. A lot of people see that though, and they're like, it seems high because we've never seen this high before. And that's true. We haven't seen this high before. This is a new trend that we're seeing these higher highs, but we're seeing new all-time highs on almost a regular basis. And I really think we're going to continue to see that. Moving on real quick before we get into the comments, I'm kind of sweeping right across the top here. We got the Dow Jones today losing 11 points at 41,989. Not really much of a drop. It was pretty much a flatline day in my opinion. I don't think 11 points is even worth saying that it's down. NASDAQ up 150 points. It's great. It was a nice up day. How many of them stocks actually were up? I would be curious. Out of the NASDAQ, I need to look that up one of these days because I always find that interesting that there's like a handful of stocks that really move the market. The majority of the investors are really just in a handful of stocks. We call it the NASDAQ or the S&P 500, which we're going to go to next. But how many of them stocks are really the heavily traded items, and how many of them are up? Because let's be honest, if you have 10 stocks that are just phenomenal and they're just skyrocketing, those 10 stocks can essentially carry the market. So I don't even always believe in the numbers that we're seeing right here. I mean, yes, they're actual numbers. I'm not denying that. But I think now they have the ability to manipulate the overall market based on heavy trading in one or two stocks or sectors, and that really does change the game up. S&P 500 again, almost flat, not really doing much. $21.22, a third of a percent. Jumping in, taking a look at Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin I find funny only because, one, it's down another 1,100 points today. But I actually was talking today to a friend of mine who has one Bitcoin. He actually bought one Bitcoin. And I talked to him today, and we were kind of teasing him a little bit, far from the high. That's one of the good things, though. If you guys are friends and you've got some friends that are into gold, some friends in silver, and some friends into Bitcoin, you kind of get to tease them a little bit. We've got a good little tease going on in our Discord group with a bunch of the subscribers to the channel that follow the channel on a pretty regular basis. And then on top of that, they're in the Discord group. And some of them are invested in Bitcoin. Now, I don't want to see a friend lose money. I told him, I said, have you thought about selling it and getting into precious metals? He goes, honestly. He started to tell me, he goes, well, here's the thing. I can't really. And then I looked at him and said, what? And then me and the other guy that were standing there looked at each other. And he tells me, he goes, what? I said, you started to say you can't sell it, but almost like you wanted to sell it, but you can't. He goes, well, that's kind of where I'm going. I can't really sell it because I bought it in right around 83, 84,000, maybe even 85. And for how much I was up, once I sell it, I'm solidifying that amount. I said, well, okay, so 85, if it's 85, you're not really down a lot. You're only down $1,000. I said, what are you going to wait for? What is your plan? He goes, well, I've heard what a lot of y'all have said, but what I'm hoping is it will get back up to, the high, and then maybe I'll consider selling. The problem with that is when stuff hits the high, greed sets in. greed sets in. How many people do you think are buying gold on a regular basis right now because it's at new all-time highs? It's almost like pumping more and more money in it faster and faster. Now, on the flip side of that, obviously there are the powers that be that are trying to beat the price down. Hard to beat the price down when there's a lot of money flowing into it, whether that be individual stackers, whether that be big banks, whether that be central banks, whether that be countries even. It's hard to push that price down, and we're seeing gold continue to climb. Will Bitcoin go up again? I told him, I said, if that's the case, if it was me, I would end up getting it up. We get the next pump. Maybe Donald Trump, maybe Elon, one of them will tweet something and about Bitcoin and the government, and all of a sudden we'll see Bitcoin jump up to 95,000. Another big push up, only to see it fizzle down over the next week back to where it was and maybe even go even lower. I said, the next time that happens, you check it every day. And he said, yeah. And I said, just like a lot of us check the price of silver every day, whether we got 10 ounces, 50 ounces, or even 100 ounces. We're checking the price on a regular day. Some of us are still picking up. We're looking for that good buy. Some of us, we don't plan on selling, but we like to feel confident in what we're doing. And when the price does go up, we feel even more confident about it. I said I would consider selling the next time it gets up to 95. That puts you up almost 10 grand. And you pay your taxes. He goes, yeah, that's the thing too. I got to pay taxes on it. I said, still, you pay taxes on 10 grand. You still made 10 grand. You still did good. And so that's kind of where I'm at on that. I feel bad because I don't think he's the only one in that boat, but we'll see what happens. Taking a look here. What was this that I was looking at? Oh, I got a kick out of this story right here. Suspect arrested for stealing $20,000 worth of gold. That's what someone sold. Someone sold $20,000 worth of gold. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute, what $20,000 worth of gold is. This is what I find kind of funny. We're talking six, approximately, because they're rounding, let's be honest. If they're not rounding, we'll say 7 1-ounce coins. That's all they sold, 7 ounces. For 7 ounces for $20,000, is that not insane when you think about it? And people just really don't understand how much wealth is in such a small thing. I've showed someone one of them little tiny gold coin, and they almost like laughed about it because it was so small. It was one of those recent ones I got in, or like 1/10 of an ounce, something tiny. And they just couldn't believe it. They were like, darn, they're just so small. And they are small. Moving on real quick, we talked about last night the conspiracy of, like someone really went into Fort Knox and stole $400 billion worth of gold. Here's the thing. Nobody thinks that they stole it. They think the Fed loaned it out or sold it. And I think we're going to find out later that it's not a conspiracy, but I'm not really going to talk about that because we talked about it in yesterday's video. So before I get to the ancient stacker, I want to talk about this one right here. There is no silver squeeze. This was 2 years ago. It's controlled by the stock price. Only thing physical demand does is increases the premiums. It's crazy watching the waves of silver stackers through the years. I love what you're doing, but this is nothing new. First of all, what I'm talking about here is nothing new. I mean, there was predecessors to me that go all the way back, and I told you some of the ones that I've watched and tried to learn from. Hey, X Factor, you actually commented on this video too. Cyber Metals looking interesting with JM Bullion. X Factor actually watches this still to this day too. I bet he's watching it right now too. Comment if you are. And then we ended up talking a little bit in the comments, and as I go through, you have to research 2 times silver hit $50. How long did it really hold at $50? What happened that preceded that this high? What was bullion dealers doing to accommodate their patrons? Don't get me wrong, I love metals, but after a few years in this game, I've learned be a cool cucumber, and in due time. I kind of got a kick out of this because, talking about $50 silver, like it only happened twice, and it just didn't really last. It was a day at most. Here's the thing. Keep in mind how much more money is in the system today than back then. I'm convinced that the first time that it hit in the 80s, it hit in 1980, I think it was, and we didn't have as much money in the system as we have today. And then fast forward to 2011, they had just gotten those bank bailouts, the 2008 housing crisis, and huge amounts of money flooded into the system. And so, yeah, it did shoot up to $50. It wasn't nearly as bad as it was in the 80s, but there was more money in the system. Look at it today, it doesn't have to get that bad with the amount of money that's in the system. You only need a small portion of the money to flow into gold and silver, and we're going to see crazy highs. Now, the next one that I wanted to take a quick look at is the Ancient Stacker. This is an awesome commemorative, because I was showing off some different coins. An awesome commemorative. I don't know where quarter ounce I've been adding to my stack on a regular basis. When I find deals that they put out there, if they're all right, I've been waiting and sniping up the deals when the time is right. I find the price for $50+ cheaper on an ounce of gold on the same coin on a different site. Silver can range $10 or $20 in some cases cheaper on a 10-ounce bar. So you're talking you can have a $2 range easy between one site and another site. So definitely be shopping around. That being said, definitely I think we have some pretty tough times ahead. So, a few years ago we had tough times too. Tough times are almost always here. But what is different today, now that I want you to understand? I do hope things settle down for a while. That way the price can dip back around $1,700 or cheaper, so I can accumulate a little bit more. So this is something I hear from a lot of people. Everybody obviously wants to see that dip if they're stacking, especially if you haven't been stacking for longer. The problem is, if he had solely waited for a $1,700 dip, let's be honest, it didn't really go down there again. And we've heard this time and time again in the comments from people that stack, that they're waiting for that big dip, and the big dip never comes. I remember about a year ago, everybody was waiting to see it break 20. And it was amazing how many comments that I had that joked with me or laughed at me. I try to put things as a fun, even if you're extremely negative towards me. I try to put it as, oh no, they're just joking. And maybe they are, maybe they're not. But, a lot of people came in and made comments about how, look, now we're down to 24, 23, 22, laughing. It ain't going to be long before we see $20 silver tea. You shouldn't be buying now. And here I am trying to push myself because, $22 silver just seemed insane to me at that point. We were just all the way up to, we had gone up to $30. And then it came down that much. And that big dip, I think, really put the pressure on silver so that the next time it would go up even higher. And it did go up higher. It shot all the way back up to $35, never hitting 20. The lowest it went was 22, so I kind of was glad that I kept doubling down, kind of like I'm doing right now. I'm trying to pick up what I can. I don't want to say as much as I can, but definitely trying to pick up some sweet deals now that I think in, the end of this year, we're only talking the end of the year, are going to be worth astronomically more. Right down to whether it's silver, whether it's gold. I picked up some great coins that when I picked up these couple coins, I'm going to be helping a friend out with his wedding. And I'm probably going to be handling some of the food. And I was like, I kind of want to work a deal out with someone so I can maybe get a better deal on some of the food for the wedding. And so in the back of my mind, I said, I'm going to buy these 2 coins. And even if I trade the 2 coins for my money back, plus something to kind of help the wedding, then I actually made out. The funny thing is, those 2 gold coins have gone up so much in just the short time that I've had them. I could pretty much just cater the wedding with the difference. And that's what we're seeing in the price of precious metals. It's just climbing up too fast. And I think that's discouraging some people, but I think people need to understand that just because we've seen a nice big jump, when the price is manipulated as much as it is, we don't really understand the prices. We think that gold at 3,100 is, oh my word, it's so high. Is it really compared to the amount of money that's in it, that's in the system? I mean, think about when gold was $2,000 an ounce at the beginning, roughly, in 2020, it was $2,000 an ounce. 4 years later, think about all the money that has been printed and flooded into the system over the last 4 years between issues in the Middle East, issues in Europe, helping out countries overseas, all the expenditures that the U.S. have. Think about how much money has been created and pushed into the system, that to think that it's not going to go higher drastically, it's kind of crazy. We're seeing the momentum on it, and the fact that we saw this little dip of $25 today is almost comical, because these little dips are literally like little pricks. I mean, 0.06. I mean, we're not even talking a tenth of a percentage. We're talking, these are astronomical, and really what happened over the last 24 hours, you've seen the price go up a little bit and then come right back down a little bit. Still over 3,100. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe even the new floor is going to be 3,100, and then we'll start seeing another climb and push to 32. And it's still a possibility we could see 32 within a week. And if not, I think for sure we're going to see it by next week, which is going to be even funnier, because it took 2 weeks for gold to go from 3,000 to 3,100. Will it do it in 2 weeks again, or will it accelerate and we'll see it in maybe 12 or 13 days? If we see it in 12 or 13 days, then that's a pretty good sign that the next 100 could come in 8 to 9 days. And one thing that I want people to take from this as I wrap up the video here is what happened in Venezuela when the money continued to be debased, and they seen precious metals just literally just go up in a straight line that would, like what you see here, where it's going straight up. Right here, you see it going straight up. I mean, we were seeing straight ups by the thousands. And I understand we're not at that point. We're not Venezuela yet. But there's a lot going on that does worry me. And securing yourself a little bit with precious metals is going to put you in a good position, I believe. So we'll see how it plays out. I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Little shorter than normal. So please, if you would, take a minute, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button for me. And it's definitely going to get exciting with precious metals. I thank you all for watching. I hope to see you again soon. I will be here back tomorrow morning, as we do a video every morning. We do a short every night. Check out some of these other great videos. A lot of cool stuff to listen to and watch. And on top of that, be sure and check out our shorts. We try to do a cool short every day. And so it's pretty cool watching them and just kind of combing through them and hitting them thumbs up as you watch them. Thanks all for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys again tomorrow on T Square Talk. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.